Yes, now we'll discuss about a poem Agony by Anil Garai. When you take the term agony, when you take the five-letter word AGONY, it's not as simple as the word. It stands for the mental humiliation, it stands for the physical torture, it stands for the mental torments and physical pains. The deep kind of pain or suffering a person would be going through is called as agony. Now, the poet here has used this term agony to represent the Dalit community of India, where they are deprived of all their rights, where they are not given the privileges as the class communities enjoy, where they are deprived of so many things, where they are blessed with a BPL card. And again, when they are blessed with this BPL card, what are things they have to suffer after again and again after that? So it says about this Anil Garai. He is he's from West Bengal, from Calcutta, and he's a Bengali poet. And this has been a translation by a poet called Indrani, has translated this Agunburi. The poem's original name is Agunburi, and this has been translated from Bengali to English. So now it's such a powerful poem, and while I was just going through this poem, what I felt is that the last lines, when you go to the last paragraph, you have a word burning, burning, burning. You find the words getting repeated: burning, burning, burning. The decayed house of a deprived nation, forever doomed like ancient women struggling to survive. So while I was just reading this, just from the beginning, once I reached the last lines, I felt the condition what we are going now actually. So it's burning everywhere. It's burning, burning, and burning. Out of, we know how the situation goes on in our country, and the decayed house of a deprived nation. When he was mentioning, the poet is mentioning about the condition of Dalit, I could say this stands for how our country witness right now. The decayed house of a deprived nation, forever doomed like ancient women struggling to survive. This is about the social conditions of women, especially who belong to the Dalit community. So when you think about the Dalits, we will have to think about the kind of, you might be familiar with Mulk Raj Anand. Mulk Raj Anand's Untouchable, Coolie, all those novels even depicts how this Dalit community being treated in India. So this is one which tells about, this is a poem which will tell you about the conditions of the Dalit community in India. And you might have heard about the person called as Rohit Vemula, who committed suicide and who has said human beings are nothing except stardust. They move from stardust to stars. That's it, of the human conditions. Who been a scholar, PhD scholar, who had to commit suicide out of the the problems he faced while he was pursuing his research. So all this, and even you have many number of writers. Almost, if you search it out, you find a list of more than 35 poets who will be saying about the literature, the causes and the problems relating to that. If you want, in simple terms, if you want to understand, you can go with Mulk Raj Anand, the Untouchability, Coolie. All this will depict beautifully the problems of Dalit in India. So now after this, and even if you think about Arundhati Roy's God of Small Things, you have the problems of untouchability, the caste system, all those depicting the problems right in Kerala. So it's good if you compare between literatures, and if you could read on, that's better. So now we go with the poem. I'll just mention about the writer as whole. Anil Garai was born in Rukminipur village of Bengal as an established voice in the field of Dalit literature. A staunch supporter of Dalit causes, Garai fearlessly manifests the angst of the marginalized and the downtrodden through his works. His creativity found expression initially in novels, but the belief that poetry could creatively represent the reality of Dalits prompted him to infuse their sufferings in poetic lines. So, in the beginning, he was actually writing not verses, but he was just getting on with fiction. What happened that while he was writing down, he felt it was not that effective as poetry, and he has taken up to poetry. And the agony, patience, suffering and sorrows of the Dalits. So you have to be very careful. They have given 4 ideas: the agony, patience, sufferings and sorrows of the Dalits, especially of the old men and women, wiped off his romantic sensibilities and sharpened his Dalit consciousness. So when he was finding the agony of his people, when he was finding the patience of his people for so lot things that they should get actually from their country, the sufferings they've been undergoing, the sorrows of the Dalits, and this made him lose his kind of romantic sensibility. He was not concerned. As a poet, he was not writing about stars. He was not writing about flowers. He was not writing about seasons. He was not writing about something he seemed it is beautiful. He was just writing about the sorrows, the sadness, the worries, and the agony of the people, especially the Dalit community. And all this, while he was facing all this, while he was witnessing all this, he a kind of consciousness called as Dalit consciousness had grown within him, and this very well reflected in his writings again. And his fifth volume of poetry is Bethesar Swaralipi, 2003, translated as Wind Notes, and he is also recipient of so many awards: Akash Sahitya Puraskar, Kabhi Nityananda Puraskar, and Kabhi Pramod Basu Smriti Sahitya Puraskar for his contribution to literature. And now, every time I say, it's always good to prepare a good critical paragraph about the author. So this would go as a good paragraph about a critical opinion about the author. Now the second paragraph, which will tell you about, which is going to be dealt here, which will tell you about as a poem as such, as it will have a critical commentary about the poet, about the poem. So Agony, a translation of Garai's Bengali poem Agun Buri. So the original is Bengali language, and its title is Agun Buri, and it was translated by Indrani Acharya. So this is translated to English by Indrani Acharya, and now you go with the gist of the poem. Acharya plunges to the depths of the woes undergone by the Dalit community. It tells a tale of an old, desolate Dalit woman striving for a basic amenities of food, water and shelter. Now you have a central character here, that's old women coming here, and now till this tale of an old, desolate, there is no one to help her out, desolate, weak Dalit women striving for a basic amenities of food, water and shelter. The women with a blurred BPL card becomes a representation of their many depraved souls among the marginalized communities for whom the tricolor stings like a venomous asp. Now this venomous asp is a phrase you find inside the poem. Now the women with a blurred BPL card. Now the card is blurred because she holds it all the time, and out of the sweat that is coming out of her hands, the outer cover of the card goes blurred, which says all the time more to money or something else. She is always holding the card within her hands, and out of the sweat the card had gone blurred. And depraved souls among the and BPL card becomes a representation of the many depraved souls. Depraved is who is not given the right kind of priorities by the people who are taking privilege out of them, of the many depraved souls among the marginalized communities for whom the tricolor stings like a venomous asp. So they don't feel so much of nationalism. They don't feel a kind of nationalism while they find their the flags waving in and out, for the reason they find because they are not getting the kind of the privileges enjoyed by the super community, the class community, and the quagmire of racial bigotry, caste supremacy and upper class prejudices have bereft these poor of their identity and have left them in pestilence to bury their mind, body and soul. I remember the pestilence stricken multitudes. So likewise, the quagmire of the racial bigotry is again quagmire. If you take it Malayalam, it is Chadupunela, quagmire. So it's a very baseline. The quagmire of racial bigotry, racial prejudice, of bias, caste supremacy and upper class prejudices have bereft these poor of their identity. So all these systems have even made them lose their identity and have left them in pestilence to burn their mind, body and soul. So out of all these conditions, they are just burning out their body, their mind and their soul. So this is about the introduction about the poem and about the poet. Now to the poem Agony. It's a beautiful poem. Even the translation is very beautiful, we could say about that. Agony by Anil Garai. That is a tale told with the difficulty. To whom do they belong? Forest, land or earth? On a wrinkled face and a famished body, the tricolor stings like a venomous asp. I need food, I need water, I need shelter amongst my people. The old woman crouches slowly to the closed ration shop with her stick. One moment of pause. She gasps for breath in sweltering heat. Her BPL card blurred by sweat. She's a sketch in black and white of a poor, forlorn soul, trudging an aimless path with moistened eyes. The arid land around her promises ruin. Air is sick and the early evening moon, a beguiling dream of forbidden pleasures, of Esther years now returns to sting. Time ticks by and the old soul forlorn fights with needs of rice, of hearth, of clothing, of festive frailties and holy, mad splash of colors between the dream and the reality. Falls the shadow of pestilence, of a gradual decay in ramshackle frame. Disease deadly as wood ant's gall burns the body, the mind, the soul. Burning, burning, burning. The decayed house of a deprived nation, forever doomed like ancient women, struggling to survive. So in the first and second read, you get a pretty good idea about the poem. If you read it, just getting inside the depth of the poem. So we'll just go line by line. Agony, the meaning is extreme physical, mental suffering. So agony is, it tells about agony of old women. So through old women, the poet actually represents the whole of the Dalit community. That is a tale told with difficulty. So when I'm about to say about this, I'm just telling this with a great difficulty. To whom do they belong? Forest, land or earth? So I just want to know. The land I found around, the forest I find around, all the comforts. Earth is actually a fireplace. So it will denote about the comforts and pleasures that a super class would enjoy. So all this fire, all the seasons, rain, sun, moon, light, warmth, and all this forest, land, who do they belong to? On a wrinkled-faced and a famished body. Now I have to see. And now I have written another example, another meaning here. Hat stands for symbolizes love, fertility, and life. So if I find some kind of warmth, actually it is a kind of prosperity. It's a kind of love. It's a kind of fertility. It's a kind of life again. But I find some people are deprived of all this. So I have to find out who are deprived of all this. On a wrinkled-faced and a famished body, the tricolor stings like a venomous asp. Asp is a cobra actually, but once I was going with the references of this, I read it somewhere, it could be even a poisonous wasp. On a wrinkled face and a famished body, famished is a hungry. You could just count all the bones and the skeletal on the body, that is a face, wrinkled faced and famished body. The tricolor stings like a venomous asp, cobra. I need food, I need water, and the person is just crying out. What I need is, I just need food, I need water. I need shelter amongst my people. And again, after food and water, I need shelter I have to live amongst my people. I need shelter. The old women crouches slowly. Crouches, you have a bend by your knees and you have a bent by your shoulders. It's a crouch. 1 second, please. One second. I'm finding some stuff. Okay, but something is going wrong with my screen. Just 1 second, I'll get back. Something has happened here. It's okay, you can just go with the poem. Some writing has come there, I don't know, something went wrong in between. It's fine. So now, I need shelter amongst my people. The old woman crouches slowly to the close ration shop with a stick. One moment of pause now. She needs food, she needs shelter, and she needs shelter amongst the people. The old women crouches slowly. Crouches, you have a bend by your shoulders, by your knees, when you're going so weak. To the close. Now the woman is moving to the close ration shop with her stick. So she is very weak and she's having a stick to support her. One moment of pause. Again, it's one moment of pause. She gasps for breath in sweltering heat. Now, She is gasping for breath in sweltering heat. Her BPL card blurred by sweat. Now, I told you in the beginning. She was overusing it. The card she held for many times in her hands and out of the sweat from her arms, it has gone. The cover has gone blurred. She's a sketch in black and white of a poor forlorn soul. In sketch in black and white means it's like you have a categorized person there. You know, once you find a person, you know she belongs to Dalit community. She's a sketch in black and white. She's a sketched out person there. She is a marked person there. You know, if you see her from a far distance, you can find out she is a Dalit woman. And trudging an aimless path with moistened eyes, the arid land around her promises ruin. Now, she is just moving with an aimless path. She doesn't have any aim in life because she know she won't be getting any aim even if she's struggling for all those. And with moist eyes, so all the time her eyes seems very moist and out of something she has not attained in her life. The arid land, but the land is very dry. What she see around her, though her eyes are wet, the land she finds around her is so dry. And her promises, and this dry land is all the time promising her just ruins and ruins one after the other. And air is sick and early evening moon. So again air is sick and again the early evening moons. Everything what she finds around, she doesn't find it so pleasant. Everything she finds, the world is sick. And a beguiling dream of forbidden pleasures. So it's all the dreams are just enchanting, but it's just forbidden for her. She's not getting anything. The community is not getting anything. Of Esther years now returns to sting. So it doesn't, this pleasures did not touch her life Esther years. In the before years she didn't have any kind of this pleasures, and the same continues from the young age to even when she has moved to old ages. This has happened. A beguiling dream of forbidden pleasures of Esther years now returns to sting. And time ticks by and old soul forlorn. Again time goes on, time changes, time moves, but again it's still the same. They don't have any difference. Fights with again the old women from her youth. She has now reached the old years, and again she is fighting with her needs of rice, of hearth and clothing. Again needs the same basic needs of rice, of hearth and of clothing, of festive frivolities and holy. So she doesn't have holy, she doesn't have love of colors, she doesn't have any playful time with colors or something that is sweet around. Of festive frivolities and holy. So when people are just making merry around, she is just serious with the needs of life, of food, of water, of shelter, of hearth, all those. And falls the shadow of pestilence. Pestilence is destruction or devastating, something which is destructive. So now of festive frivolities and holy, mad splash of colors between the dream and the reality. So this splash of colors is between the dream and the reality. Falls the shadow of pestilence. Again, I have told you this is a pestilence stricken multitudes. You have from Shelley's Ode to the West Wind. Again, it says about the condition of people. So again, falls the shadow of pestilence, of a gradual decay in the ramshackle frame. So again, ramshackle frame is you have on the a topping of your roof where it's about to fall. It's about its ruin in that way that it's about to fall. If you have a good rain and if you have a good wind, the crown of the roof will just come down. Of a gradual decay, it's ready to collapse. And disease deadly as wood ants gall. And again you have ചെതലൊക്കെ അരച്ചിട്ട്, അതായത് മരമുറുമ്പുകൾ ചെതലരച്ച് ചെതൽ പിടിച്ച കുറേ കെട്ടിടങ്ങളും അതിൻ്റെ റൂഫും എന്ന കട്ടിളയും ഒക്കെയാണ് കാണുന്നത്. ഓഫ് എ ഗ്രാജുവൽ ഡീക്കേ ഇൻ ramshackle frame, disease deadly as wood ants gall, burns the body, mind and the soul. So once I see this, once I see everything around me is destructed, it's again affecting, it's just burning my body, my mind and my soul. Burning, I feel burning and burning. The decayed house of a deprived nation. So it is a nation which has deprived me, my community, of all the rights. Forever doomed like ancient women. So I'm just again, our society is again like a woman who is out of all the, who is not given any rights in the society, struggling to, and again I know I'm deprived of all this, but still again I'm just struggling to survive. So this is the gist of the poem Agony. So I hope you will go with this and you will have to work out the questions. Try to answer all those questions given in the back. Synonyms, you have synonyms is exact same words, antonyms opposite words, and now you have to use 3 words in sentences. Kindly do that. And again answer the questions in about 50 words. It's going for the 2 mark questions. And again, answer in 100 words. It's a paragraph 4-mark question, 5-mark, 4-mark question. And again, it's an essay question. How does the poem become a critique of indifference of the world towards the Dalit community? So you can just say about all this, and even you can compare with other works also, where you have mentioned about Mulk Raja and untouchability. You can say about the Roy's Gaurav, small things where you can about any incidents you find about the Dalit community that you face around. And Anil Garai has used a whiplash against insufficient political bureaucracy and the supremacy of the upper class. So elaborate. So one essay you can just write down from here. So about the poem Agony. Thank you.